Hello and welcome to GreenFleet Talks. My name is Kate Armitage and I'm your host for our discussion today, and I'm delighted to be joined by Colin Ferguson, CEO at the Algorithm People. Hi Colin.
Hi Kate, great to see you again.
Yeah, good to talk to you. At the end of this month, the 26th Conference of the Parties, better known as COP26, opens in Glasgow, where the world's leaders will come together to agree actions and targets on the long-term goal to become net zero by 2050. Today, Colin and I are discussing the role that transport will play on this global stage, where the UK can take the lead, and how the Algorithm People is at the forefront of this transition. So Colin, COP26 is a pivotal moment for world leaders, businesses and communities to come together to establish plans and encourage tangible actions to tackle climate emergency. What, in your opinion, will make a successful COP26?
Yeah, so Alex Sharma outlined these priority action areas for COP26. So around helping people, economies and the environment adapt and prepare for the impacts of climate change. Also safeguarding ecosystems, protecting natural habitats and keeping carbon out of the atmosphere, which is what we all want. In addition to seizing the massive opportunities for less expensive renewables and storage. For me, however, I'd like to see the recommendations made to mandate the use of certain technologies. So optimization technology being one of them. On its own, that's proven to reduce fleet mileage by 20%. So if we did that worldwide, that would have a massive impact on emissions, and certainly close to my heart.
Right. Okay. I think it's a fair point, and it is finding these very tangible measures, and ideally getting something where the cost of the measure is offset by the savings that are gained, which isn't always the case, but definitely is with software solutions such as optimization. What is the Algorithm People doing as a business and with your own employees to support this goal of achieving net zero?
Yeah, I mean, we could probably start with the obvious ones. I mean, we've probably done what most organisations have done, which is, not travel to meetings because we're using, online sessions to do that. But that has reduced their travel footprint significantly. I think one of the other areas as we looked at is, how could we support our clients online rather than just, not travel to sales meetings, because a lot of the meetings that we've maybe done in the past have been to support clients and support rollouts of the technology. So we've adapted to doing that 100% online now. So it's very, very rare that we'll do a meeting, and again, that's reduced the need to go out and see the clients, but we can still support them very well and arguably more productively. So not going into the office, I mean, that started with the pandemic for as it did with everyone, but we've managed to reduce the time that we go into the office now, and again that's had the same impact as not going to the client meetings. But I think the biggest area is is the new initiatives that we're working on, developing new technologies and algorithms that not only help our clients to reach net zero through the initiatives that we're doing, but they have a positive impact on the environment, such as reducing air pollution, etc. So I think the combination of all these areas is what we've looked at. The other thing to add is we now have UK business climate leader status, having rolled in the government's programme, so we have a pledge now to reach net zero by 2030. And of course, that's all in addition to what we do for our clients as a day job, which is optimise their assets, reduce miles, and cut emissions for them as well.
Right, and I know, Colin, from having worked with you in the past, that your business model is looking at all fleets and all fuel types and driving efficiencies and reducing miles, which is great. But I also know that the algorithm people is really committed to speeding the uptake of electric vehicles. Could you tell us a little bit more about that and how you're going about that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we have a tried and tested process, a 5-step process to help fleets and organisations. So we will engage with the fleet, and we will baseline their current activities. So that's measuring the duty cycles, the distance that they're travelling, the tasks, visits or appointments that they're doing. So that can be, engineers, it could be delivery companies, multiple different use cases. We'll then resequence what that fleet or organisation is doing, which is trying to improve the order that they're doing things in, reduce mileage, and that's a quick win. They can do that today, and we show them how to do that through evidence-based analysis, and that's the second step. The third step is optimising the vehicles in fleet, and that's quite important because what that could do is reduce the number of vehicles to solve the same problem. So it's a benefit in cost, but it's also a benefit in emissions and asset utilisation. And then having done that third step, the fourth step is to overlay how the other vehicles could fit in that they're thinking about procuring or already have. So that could be electric, could be hydrogen, it could be hybrid, whatever the best mix is. So overlaying, the potential new vehicles onto the optimization, results is the key step in the process. And the last part is then how does infrastructure and the vehicles interact with that. So that's a 5-step process really that's tried and tested. And recently we worked with a water utility and managed to show a 40% increase in the ability to transition to electric vehicles by optimization. So it's significant when you get it right.
Great. Okay. And I kind of, for me, having worked, with fleets, and this is GreenFleet, every fleet is different, and there's so many nuances in terms of the vehicles that you have, the different duty cycles, the dynamics of different jobs, plus the external factors like low emission zones and things like that. That you will have to have this software, don't you, to make sure that where you've introduced electric vehicles, they are being deployed in the right way, and that you're still able to do everything that you do with an ICE fleet.
Yeah, you are. I mean, I think we're very much an advocate of creating demand for electric vehicles. So we see quite often the vehicle choices, in particular in fleets, that are made, but they're made without maybe going through that evidence-based analysis process, or infrastructure, is set up with a view to what vehicles might be coming along. But we would prefer to show how you can introduce electric vehicles by creating demand for them. So we're working on a project just now called Maths, which is asset to asset optimization, and what that's doing is rather than traditional optimization where you've got depot to delivery point or depot to multiple visit points. What Maths is doing is showing how vehicles can interact with vehicles, but by doing that and showing how electric vehicles can perhaps interact with smaller micro electric vehicles, they could do that at infrastructure points. So therefore, what you're doing is you're not only encouraging the uptake of electric vehicles through optimization, you're encouraging them to go to a location where they can charge up and swap their goods, which are more efficient, thus creating demand for the infrastructure. So having the correct use cases and showing how they're used, absolutely is key for me.
It is absolutely crucial, and just saying, right, well, that particular vehicle does a lower mileage and we can switch that out for electric is a valid approach, but it has its limitations, and we have to take a much more holistic view of the whole transport system and as you've said, the assets and how they interact with each other if we're going to get to net zero, which is really what COP26 is about.
Sure.
So, Colin, just widening the discussion a little bit, because we get what the algorithm people are doing. All eyes will be on the UK as the host of COP26, and we have made a pretty strong commitment to the delivery of vehicle electrification. But what more can the UK do to lead the way with the demonstration of EV charging infrastructure combined with this clean, innovative vehicle technology?
Yeah, I think it's related to the last point. I think the UK can do a little bit more with regards to innovation. I totally appreciate that there's lots of different ways that can be set out, and the government is very supportive through bodies like Innovate and different competitions to breed that. But I think we need to think a little bit differently around infrastructure. So more programs that incentivise its use and create a demand, as I say, related to the last point, rather than creating the infrastructure and then encouraging the uptake of electric vehicles, separately, that may or may not use it. I think it'd be a better approach to do that top-down approach and create the demand. So I think we can do more thinking around that, in my view, and start looking at projects and programs that will achieve that aim, rather than just here's your electric vehicles over there, here's your infrastructure here, let's hope that they use it and marry it up together, because I think that's too simplistic.
Yeah, okay, well, that's certainly taking this conversation on to the next level, which is where we want to go.
Absolutely. I think for me, what I passionately believe in is, this holistic approach to whether it be electrification or reducing emissions within organisations and fleets in particular, rather than looking in silos or routes or individual vehicles and how they can maybe be swapped out. I think there's a far greater prize if we all look holistically at each organisation, and then how those organisations perhaps interact with each other. Because if you zoom out to that level, and then ultimately globally, I think that's where we're going to have the biggest impact.
Yeah, and Colin, it's a different world now. I really, in the last 12 to 18 months, possibly since COVID, but it does feel that there is more collaboration and a stronger desire to solve problems together rather than working on individual initiatives.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, I think we are seeing within our client base, and certainly our partners, the need and want to work together. So I think that's been positive. I think partly driven by COVID. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Looking for new ways to, be efficient and work together collaboratively. But I think it's naturally happening as well, as more and more organisations are doing that. Other organisations are seeing that and looking to emulate it. So I think that there is no doubt if we get our heads together, the outcome is likely to be more positive.
Yeah, I agree, and that's a great note to end the discussion, Colin. Unfortunately, that is all we've got time for. It has been a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise.
Thank you to the algorithm people for joining GreenFleet Talks, and thank you to our audience for watching. Please tune in to GF365 again soon.